smart as he usually is.
Brown drives, layup off the glass.
That's not the first time we've seen a superstar in green and white sacrifice the body.
Sorry, knocked away.
Welcome into First of the Floor. Ben Vallis here. Hope you're doing well. By now, I'm sure you're well aware of the Damian Lillard trade, and if you're worried about how it affects your beloved Celtics, you've come to the right place. Wayne Spooney and Jake Eisenberger here. Spooney, how's it going, man? Welcome back.
You know, first of all, great podcast with Ben Golliver, gentlemen. It was excellent. I'm sad I missed it, but it went great. So, and I feel like I'm lagging right now.
You are. I was like, is it me?
I was like, yeah, uh-oh.
Well, we'll give Spooney a moment to tidy up the bandwidth there while we throw to Jake Eisenberg, who I believe is in another part of the world, not in Tasmania. Might be up here in sunny Sydney. Am I right, mate?
Mate, it's great to be back. It's sunshine. It's hot. It's great. It's great to be back. We're recording, and then we're going straight to the bachelor party, and so we're ready to go. This is a good day. I'm excited.
What do you got coming up first with the bachelor party? What's first?
We just get into the house, and it's just beer pong tournament, beer ball tournament, probably wrestling, my guess.
Yeah.
And then
watching
golf.
TweetDeck.
Yeah, watching
Jrue Holiday
TweetDeck. Yeah,
trades.
of course. And then a bit of golf tomorrow. It's the AFL Grand Final here in Australia tomorrow, and then we'll just a full weekend of sends. It's good times.
Nice. Love to hear it. All right, Spoonie, you're back with us. You're looking sharp and unlaggy. That's great. Let's get to this Dame trade. Damian Lillard traded from the Portland Trailblazers to the Milwaukee Bucks as part of a 3-team deal. Jrue Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Tumani Kamara, and a 2029 unprotected Milwaukee first-round pick and an unprotected Milwaukee swap rights in 2028 and 2030. They go to the Blazers. Phoenix lands Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson. So a little bit of depth there for the Suns. And obviously, Dame ends up in a very close rival there, the Milwaukee Bucks. Spoonie, you look like you're back with us. No lag. We'll go to you first. Just general reaction to the trade. And I suppose, like through the Celtics lens, how worried are you now that we have this epic rival in our conference?
They're going to rue the day they traded Tumani Kamara. I'll say that. But yeah, I forgot to hardwire, so my bad on that. My Wi-Fi's terrible. But I hate to say this. I absolutely love this trade for the Bucks. I really do. Like, I think they just knew, like, Jrue Holiday can't hold up their perimeter defense by himself. Like, they're just going to get a switch, and they're just going to line up on Grayson Allen, Joe Ingles, whatever. So they have to rely on their rim protection. So who cares? So now you don't have to get that switch. So now you're not wasting 2 seconds on the shot clock. Like, it doesn't matter. We have Dame now on the offensive end, and Dame Giannis pick and rolls, man. Like, well, I know we're going to talk a little more in depth about it, but that is freaking terrifying, dude. Like, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me from Phoenix's end.
What are they doing, dude?
Like, why are you facilitating another title contender's, like, becoming the favorite, essentially? So I really don't get that, but I really hate to say it. Like, makes sense for Portland, in my opinion. Like, I get, they got swaps. Like, Dame's going to be, like, 50 years old when those swaps come to fruition. They're probably going to get some sweet top picks from the Bucks at that point, but I'm just very sad news. Other than the Heat, this is the worst outcome.
This is the thing. Like, I still think it's better than Miami. Like, I think obviously in a vacuum, the Bucks now are far more terrifying. Higher floor, higher ceiling, probably. Like in the regular season, their defense is still going to be good just because they have Giannis and Brook. And for regular season defense, rim protection and having Giannis roaming is like 100% enough to be a really good defense night to night. I do think when you think about the Celtics matchup, though, in particular, obviously much more difficult to defend them now with Dame and Giannis. But I think the best way to beat the Celtics, and the reason the Celtics have lost the last 2 seasons, it's always going up against good defenses. Like if you can short circuit the Celtics offense, that's when they get screwed up. Like it's exactly what happened in the Warriors series. As much as we remember Steph going nuclear, like the Celtics defense was really good. They averaged like 107 points per game in that series. The offense was the reason they lost. The reason they lost the Heat series. Now the Bucks, they couldn't guard the Celtics beforehand. So I think this has completely changed this entire matchup this offseason. With this matchup, we had Marcus Smart and Jrue Holiday like as two key pieces of the series, and now if they play each other, you've swapped them in for Damian Lillard and Kristaps Porzingis. Just a completely different feel and tone for a whole series. Like both teams have lent into offense, kind of following maybe a little bit of the Nuggets blueprint. But I think the Celtics have probably the best defense of the three of those teams, at least ceiling-wise.
Yeah, and we still have the Jays, and the Bucks still can't stop the Jays. In fact, they just lost one of their best defenders, which gives us an exploitable point of attack there when we go at the Bucks, which I don't think happens until like late November. So we've got a little while to sort of size them up before we get into that matchup. But, Jrue Holiday, just going back to the offensive side of things for the Bucks, was a pretty decent pick and roll ball handler. They ran pick and roll with Jrue as the ball handler at a 37.3 frequency per game. That's roughly 7.2 possessions per game. Exactly, 7.2 possessions per game. A 44% score frequency, good for the 79th percentile. Not bad. Damian Lillard, 39% frequency as far as pick and roll ball handler plays for Dame. 11.1 possessions per game. 49.2% score frequency. Very good. Good for the 94th percentile.
Yeah.
Add to that the personnel with which Dame will be running that pick and roll. Giannis, who I was listening to Thinking Basketball earlier, This is just a side note, not typically a roll man in pick and roll actions, usually the ball handler in the majority of the Bucks pick and roll actions. You have to predict that he's going to be more of a roll man playing with Dame. In fact, that's the only way they can do it as a duo. That's quite terrifying given how good Dame was as a pick and roll ball handler despite the lack of personnel. We haven't even mentioned Brook Lopez. That's going to be a spicy pick and roll duo or tandem as well. So very, very concerning, very worried, have lost sleep over the trade. Like it is tough. It's concerning. They're better. The betting odds suggest that. But some have said that this could be a good thing for the Celtics in that we're, underdogs is going too far. But finally, we're not the favorites. We're not entitled to anything. We have to go out there and earn it. That's a good thing for the season, I think. What do you think about that, Spoonie?
I can't believe the only rotation guy they gave up is Grayson Allen, essentially,
know.
right? Like,
Yeah.
What the hell? Come on, Phoenix. What are you doing? But ultimately, like, Grayson Allen was really important for them. So if you're looking for weaknesses, they're essentially a 2.5-man team at this point, depending on, well, I guess Brook is good, but he's 37 years old. Like, at some point, it's going to fall apart for Brook. He's not going to be able to make shots, and he's only going to be able to stand by the rim. And we exploit Brook, like Jake, you said it. Like, they cannot guard us with the way they play defense. As long as we're hitting our pull-ups, I don't think Dame really changes that at all. So these are going to be incredibly high-scoring games, I guess, at this point. But what scares me is Giannis as the roll man has always dominated, but they haven't run it a lot because Giannis wants the ball in his hands. But, like, this is the first guy he can truly be like, all right, you're better than I am with the ball in your hands, so I will go and be the roll guy. And that is truly what terrifies me about this. But I don't know. But the team sucks, right? Kind of?
Yes. Dude, Pat Connaughton's their starter.
Yeah, right.
Malik Beasley's starting, and he couldn't play in the playoffs for the Lakers. They do not have a fifth guy still. To act like this team now is the prohibitive, they're going to cakewalk through the East and go to the finals is crazy to me. I don't think really there's that many people that are even saying that. But I think it's okay. I'm not going to argue with anyone if they say that the Bucks are the favorites and they feel more comfortable with the Bucks at the top. But they have injected. Go ahead, Ben.
Well, you're not all in on Bossman 99, Jay Crowder, or
Oh my God, dude.
Myers Leonard.
It's
stellar reputation, Myers Leonard. None of those guys are selling you.
I love watching us play against Myers Leonard. I'm like, oh yes, Myers Leonard's in. Let's go.
I do wonder because obviously playoffs aren't for a long time. Trade deadline's not for a long time. Can they make a move? Obviously, asset-wise, they're depleted with picks. But so like Bobby Portis is their, he's probably their fifth best player, but they just can't really play Brook, Giannis, and Bobby together. It just doesn't work really. So can they flip Bobby for someone that actually makes sense on the wing? That would be concerning. Or like, I'm going to talk about Alex Caruso. Like, do they flip Portis for like that second backcourt spot that like actually is someone that can play make and make defense? That would concern me more. But right now, I think a team that you can already exploit offensively, which leans into where the Celtics have been successful against the Sixers. Like Tatum's biggest games have come against the Bucks and the Sixers because of the way that they play defense. And the Celtics are at their best when Jason Tatum has the ability to go off for 40 and 50 points. So like Tatum can be the best player in this series when we get to the playoffs. Like he really can be. And so I think, man, it's a big year for the big fella.
Spicy. It's going to be so spicy. I think you guys mentioned it already, but Chris Middleton, the pressure is off Middleton somewhat as he is, well and truly into his decline. If recent playoff performances in particular are to say anything about that. So that is another thing that worries me. Ultimately, like just to summarize this and move on, worried with underlying undertones of confidence in that we still believe in our roster while healthy. Would that be fair? But the pressure taken off Middleton does add to the ultimate power that is this Bucks roster now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Real quick. Sorry, Jake.
No, you go.
But like the flip side of the Bucks is that if this doesn't work in the next like 2 years, it's over. It is there's nothing left, and Giannis is going to leave. So this is a massive gamble, and like it's really hard to win a championship. You're one ankle roll away from not winning a championship. So this is an all-in move.
And here's the thing. How many times do we have to hear about small point guards and aging? They're technically they're the same age, Dame and Jrue, but Jrue he's more of a physical specimen freak-wise. And you talk about durability. People have been concerned all offseason about Porzingis and the Celtics' health issues. You obviously have Middleton health issues, Brook Lopez getting up there. Dame Lillard, last 2 seasons games played, 87. Porzingis, 99. Jrue Holiday, 134. They've traded out by far the most durable player in their core, and it's not particularly close. Even Giannis deals with his own injury issues. So like they've injected a serious amount of risk into their equation as well.
I'm going to clip that and listen to it as I fall asleep tonight. Thank you for that, Jake. Now, you mentioned massive risks and gambles. Speaking of such things, Adam Himmelsbach on Twitter earlier today, I believe, not a big surprise, but I've been told the Celtics are expected to explore the possibility of trading for Jrue Holiday. Spoonie, what would that trade even look like? I mean, just to give you the sort of vague framework, either Rob Williams or Al Horford, and then Brogdon and likely multiple firsts. So how would you feel about potentially giving up that package in a deal for Jrue Holiday?
Yeah, so I wonder how much Portland values Brogdon as just a piece they can immediately flip again for another first. Like, are they valuing him at that? Are they valuing him at dead money or, salary matching money, even value? I don't know. My guess is they could probably flip him for assets. So he's probably positive value. I think they'd be interested in Rob. I know they just got Ayton, but like Rob's a really good piece. And I would be loath to give up Al at this point. I know Rob is Rob's ceiling is higher, but like you're gonna have to defend Giannis, you're gonna have to defend Embiid, and Al Horford has proved yet again he is the best guy to do those two things. Like Rob really just can't do it. So Rob's probably got more trade value, and I mean you probably have to include less picks if Rob's included. And so I just think like you might as well keep Horford. So I think it's Brogdon, Rob, and then the number of picks, we've got all the seconds. Like Brad Stevens' pockets are overflowing with seconds. Those are worth a lot now because of how, with this new restrictive CBA and they make less money. So I don't know how many firsts it would take. I think you could get it done with like a first and 2 seconds, and then they move Brogdon over. I think it's extremely risky. But look, when Giannis was on the floor, without Jrue Holiday, the Bucks were like minus 1.8 net rating. When Jrue was out there without Giannis, they were plus 5 net rating.
Wow.
Like, he's really, really good, man. So I've been going back and forth, been texting some of my buddies. Like, I think I would probably pull the trigger on that. I don't know, Jake, am I insane? I don't know.
No,
man.
no,
Like,
you're not. You're not. The thing is, I think if you do the trade by including Rob, I just don't know how much if it does, increase your odds. Like, I think maybe it does. Firstly, I'm with you, Rob over Al. You cannot trade Al and rely on Rob and Porzingis. Like, you just can't do it. Like, even take out it. Like, obviously, you mentioned the matchups which are crucial to begin with, but you just can't rely. Like, Al's even though he's 37, he's by far the most likely to be healthy for the playoffs, and it's not even close. Like, I think the last 2 seasons, including playoffs, he's played 173 games. Like, he's like LeBron level durability. And if you're gonna have Porzingis on the roster, you gotta complement that with someone like Al. You just can't do it. Otherwise, that's too much risk. And then I don't think it makes you that much better, increases your odds that much more when you trade out Brogdon and Rob plus the first round pick, where it makes sense to make the trade. Like, if we're able to do this trade without including Rob, and we're going to get to this danger cart thing that we got mentioned on Twitter in a second, then you do it. Because I think if you're able to add Jrue, basically doing a Brogdon for Jrue swap, then that's basically what we almost had in our dreams with DeMarcus Smart. The fucking Clippers, dude.
bastards.
I know, and a little bit.
Ballmer.
What are we
on the Clippers
doing?
very quickly, like a little bit. Part of me thinks the best case scenario is just like Jrue gets moved to the Clippers. He's out of our conference. Like, nothing else is tilted in any particular direction in the East, and we can just move on and keep things as they are. But we'll get to the argument against trading for Drew Bledsoe in a second. You mentioned that danger card tweet. So
Drew Bledsoe, love it.
did I just say Drew Bledsoe?
Talk about a
I knew I was going to do that.
Throwback, yeah. Is there confetti raining down there, Ben?
Me and T. Rosier, we're just the kindred spirits.
That
What
is
can I say?
amazing.
Danger Cart, thank you for calling me on that. Said on Twitter, if they can get Jrue Holiday for Brogdon while keeping Rob and Al by using Blake in a sign-and trade, it would mean at least risking a huge salary and tax bill next year and being deep into apron 2. If they're willing to do that, that's awesome. So there does exist a world where we could pull this off without giving up Rob or Al, which would be perfect, and it's not my money, so I'm completely okay with accepting the salary implications and the cap implications down the road. Do you think there's any likeliness in the Celtics pulling that off, or the Blazers even wanting to do that dance?
If look, that's where I'm willing to unload some picks.
Yes.
I'd be willing to unload the Warriors pick and a future first. Like, I think that's a risk 100% I'm willing to take every time. Like, the team is just so loaded at that point. Like, it's so loaded. Having Jrue Holiday come in here, I just want to say I don't think he's that much better than Smart. I think but this team with Smart as opposed to Brogdon there's a reason why we were so excited about that. If we get Drew, go on, Sooney.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, though, like, Brogdon was awesome in the playoffs until he got hurt.
Yep.
Can I just read you? So 56% true shooting is league average, right?
Yeah.
Right around there. I'm going to read you Jrue Holiday's true shooting for the last 3 playoffs. 49.1, 46.1, 48.2. You know who was way more efficient than that in the playoffs? Marcus Smart.
Yeah,
dude. We complain about Smart being inefficient in the playoffs. Smart was always around league average efficiency in the playoffs. Like, the flip side is Jrue, much better playmaker, similar defenders. But they're similar defenders, right?
I was
the playmaker,
He's
yeah.
like, is he a better playmaker?
I don't know. Maybe not. I'm just like, Jrue has some warts too. So I think there's an argument that, like, I'm with you, Jake. Like, yeah, it's definitely an improvement, but is it worth, like, unloading your assets essentially for it? Because we got a lot of powder, man. Like, we can definitely make a move with that Brogdon contract. And I think probably Drew's worth it, but that's scary inefficiency in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it's kind of end of the road. Like, we don't have a lot of flexibility if we do pull the trigger on this. And like the Jrue decline, some have purported, like it is kind of there on the horizon a little bit. So
He's
from last
33 as
year-
well.
Yeah, effective field goal percentage is down from last year. Turnover percentage is up. Free throw attempts are down. He shot 28% from 3 in the playoffs last year. Like, he is declining, statistically speaking, and he's at that age where you can expect that to happen. So, like, do we want to move all of his assets for him and then be faced with that massive contract extension in a year or two from now? I don't know.
It would be a completely different role for him relative to what he's had to do on the
Yes.
Bucks, especially the last 2 seasons, where he's been way overly relied on, especially in the Celtics series where there was no Middleton and no Middleton last year. So, like, from that perspective, he would be like what? Jalen, Jason, Porzingis, probably like Derek's a better offensive player.
4-5.
So he's like in the 4-5 range as opposed to, he's really been the second option in the playoffs the last 2 seasons, which is just way too much for someone like Jrue Holiday. So I do think that those numbers come back up where he's more of a catch and shoot guy, and he can, like, having Jrue, and also just like purely having Jrue for the Milwaukee matchup, I think adds just this level of juice to that. I think like that I would love to have, and like someone that I think you feel really comfortable backing. Like, you can't hide if you're Damian Lillard. You know, you have someone like Jrue out there you can back. Like, Drew's really good in the similar to Smart. You know, posting up smaller guards. I think I would do it. Like, I think you do it. I think I unload 2. I'd go 2 first-round picks, no more than that. If you can do Brogdon and stuff without including Rob and Al, I'm not doing the trade if it includes Rob. Then I'm walking away.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. And like Derek White, Jrue Holiday, the Jays, KP, that lineup is absurd, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that is an insane lineup on both ends.
Yes, so that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think I err on the side of doing it. Like, the window is now, so I wouldn't cough up Al Horford, but that Rob Williams, as much as I love the Time Lord, Rob Williams and Brogdon and a couple of first rounders for Jrue, I think you do it. I think you just got to do it. And
But he's a free agent as well after this season.
He's got a player
That's-
option.
You get the wink. You get the wink and the
okay.
nod if you make that
He's
trade.
going to opt in, surely.
No, Fred VanVleet got paid $42 million a year. This is
A good point.
he'll easily get a multi-year deal at $35 million annual, I reckon, for like a 3-year $90 million or something from someone. So it's like maybe you get an extension done, maybe you don't. But like the Derek White extension's coming up, I'd much rather extend Derek White than Jrue Holiday. So I just think I'd prefer not to go that hard on probably a rental. It's probably a rental. When you say the time is now, the time is now, but also like I am hesitant to do like a true all-in move before Jason Tatum's like actually in his prime. Like that's the time where I'm going to be happy to do like a true all-in move, because like we still have a built-in another level to go. We're 3 years away from with Tatum.
Yeah, where I could take it or leave it is that things are great right now, roster-wise. And the vibes coming out of Celtic social media from the Auerbach Center prior to Media Day, prior to training camp, are immaculate. And, like, we've seen enough of these pre-training camp social media outbursts to know the difference between what looks to be a good-looking group and, you know, a group that doesn't have that much chemistry. They do look particularly good, unless they've just completely changed up the Celtic social media team. They're doing a great job of projecting that image. So I almost feel bad, like, receding to the sort of take it or leave it stance with potentially acquiring Jrue. We're like, yeah, you could do it and it would be great, but things would almost be just as good if we just did nothing in this scenario. You mentioned alternative moves. Alex Caruso makes $9.4 million this year and is partially guaranteed for $9.8 million next year. The Bulls are in limbo. Could you throw out Brogdon? I'm not sure what their cap situation is, but just loosely talking about this framework here, Brogdon for Caruso, spice it up for them with a pick and a half, as in a first and a second, or something like that. Spoonie, would you make that move?
So, real quick, Alex Caruso and Kobe White works money-wise. It's almost exactly right. So I think that's probably what the trade's looking like. Kobe White, a little overpaid in my opinion at $11 million, but useful depth guard that can shoot threes. And I think we're all huge Caruso fans. So I guess it would depend on the number of picks. My concern is that, like, we kind of lack ball handlers. I wrote about how we're going to need Tatum to pick up a lot of like the playmaking and passing, and we got roundly destroyed for that. But I think it's the truth. And I would be a little bit worried that we just don't have enough guys who can crack a defender off the dribble, get to the rim, or make a play. And Brogdon's really good at that. But man, Caruso, he's a unique player. He's kind of like the reverse Pritchard, where it's like kind of weak on one end, but like pretty filthy at the other end. So I don't know. That's a tough one for me. Go ahead.
He's not a shooter, and he's not like you're right. Like he's similar to Pritchard. He's like not an elite pick and roll guy just because he doesn't have like the offensive threat that some of these other guys do. But really smart off ball cutter. Relative like. Not the best spot up guy, but he's a good playmaker. Like I think he's a connector, and then what he brings you on the defensive end. When you saw it with what he did with the Lakers, like he can literally be a starter on a championship team. Like I would. It's too bad that Caruso only makes $9 million. It makes this trade really hard because on one hand, it's like I don't know if the Bulls want to send out Kobe White. Like he's still young. They drafted him. $11 million in today's NBA is nothing really, and so. Like I saw Greeny threw out like Brogdon, and then you take back Alonzo and Caruso and you send out some other stuff, and Lonzo's purely just a salary. That's part of the problem with this roster right now is like you go down the list, and the reason we can't trade for Jrue Holiday without giving up important pieces is because we don't have like everyone makes $2 million.
Everybody's good, and everybody's good.
Yes, exactly. So outside, so it's like Brogdon's the only salary, but then it's like to get to someone like Jrue Holiday's 36, you can't even aggregate your filler like we did for the Brogdon trade. Brogdon only made 22, so it made sense to throw in Malik Fitz and all these other guys, but it's like Brad was too good at his job when he signed Sam Hauser to this contract because like you do Brogdon and Hauser, and like if Hauser makes enough money here, if Hauser makes 8, maybe this is how you get it done. But is what it is.
I guess the main takeaway then is like other opportunities will arise that we could find the Malcolm Brogdon salary useful for. So let's not blow our load now on Jrue Holiday. I was going to say Drew Bledsoe.
So hard though.
I am going to say it again at least once before this podcast is over. Jrue Holiday. And in the meantime, worst case, hold on to Malcolm Brogdon, 6th man of the year.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some health concerns, maybe some attitude, chemistry concerns. Maybe that's all just bullshit anyway. We don't know. But worst case, just hold on to this great player who can, like you said, Spoonie, crack players off the dribble, who can penetrate. He can't finish when he gets to the hoop, but he's decent at breaking down defenses. We are going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, and then we're going to get to a very awesome Wayne Spoonie-produced segment coming right up.
Yes.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. I don't have any example NFL bets, not that I ever do, but the NBA season's about to start, right? Like, love our sponsor, FanDuel. Very thankful for FanDuel and CLNS for presenting the First of the Floor podcast. But, guys, like, the focus has shifted to the NBA. Am I wrong?
For us, that's for sure.
I probably shouldn't be shitting on our sponsor like that. That's how it's going.
But Pat's plus 6.5 versus the Cowboys.
Thank you, Jake.
Do it.
They looked bad. The Cowboys looked bad. Yeah,
they're really injured. The over under for that game is really low. That for it to be 6.5, the Pats can kind of hang with them, I think. But yeah, and I didn't lead you wrong last week. We're 1-1 on Jake's picks against the spread here. So let's keep it going.
Love it.
My Joe Burrow MVP bet is killing it.
Oh boy.
Wayne Spoonie, take it away, good sir.
Okay, so training camp. It's silly. It's dumb. The media, which I guess we're like half a part of at this point,
Hell yeah, dude.
has to make things up, right? Like we need content. Unfortunately, we're not particularly creative. So every season, the same storylines come up. So I have compiled some memorial awards for storylines, and I would like you to predict who you think will be the honorary storyline, the player who gets this honorary storyline.
I love this.
So the first, the James Young Memorial, who puts on 15 pounds of muscle?
I'm on
Jake.
this. It's Sam Hauser.
Oh, yes.
It's Sam Hauser.
Yeah.
Look, he's never going to be able to, markedly improve his explosiveness. I think that's pretty clear. What he can do is improve his bulkiness, his strength. Can he become a sturdy post defender? Maybe. I also saw a picture of him reaching down for a ball, and his shoulder was looking a little
Huge.
ripped, dude. Some striations in the delts, potentially, that I have my eyes on. Yeah, let's give it to Sammy boy.
Yeah, and there was a clip of, I was talking about the Celtics social media, great work. There was a clip of Hauser just like standing there doing some ball handling drills. And like obviously all NBA players standing without being guarded by anyone are going to have like elite ball handling, but he looked really good. He looked like he could go hard in the paint. Anyway, I digress. Could it not be Rob Williams? Could Rob Williams not come back?
Oh,
with,
totally.
like, functional muscle, and along with that comes some of those striations and some of those visually pleasing elements. But
Dimensions.
Dimensions, thank you. If anyone needs to come back with a healthy layer of muscle added to them, given their lack of durability, it might be the Time Lord. And we don't look at him as this bang down low big. He's more of this like agile, roaming, come swooping in out of nowhere guy. If he could get a bit of a lower muscular foundation, I think that'd actually be really important for him and the team. So I'm going to go with the Time Lord.
I think I understand like the spirit of the award is adds 15 of muscle, but maybe like it can be like best shape of their life is also another way to describe this.
Same thing.
I think
Just
I think
add it all in his calves.
Yeah, like I think Time Lord is perfect. It's like maybe he hasn't gained necessarily 15 pounds, but like the bicep veins, like clearly he's lost 6% body fat. Like he's in the best shape of his life. He's the most agile. We're seeing like the quadricep teardrop that we didn't see last year. Things that I'm not watching closely at all, obviously. But
Your like muscularity vocabulary is really
It's incredible. Your wife sees your phone like, what are you looking at, Jake? I can see it now. We're going to be counting the number of Jakes Rob Williams is squatting. I'll say it right now. So, okay. Next award. The Derek White Memorial. He fixed his jumper, and it actually works.
ooh.
Ben.
I'd love to take this one. It's got to be Luke Cornett, who was like a...
That was
like,
mine.
what?
That's
Thank
what I
you.
came up with for this. Yes.
Yeah. He was a stretch big. Only he
Yeah.
sort of gave off that image of being a stretch big, and he had at least one season with the Knicks, I believe, where he shot like mid-30s from three. Like the talent is there within him. He just needs to find it again. And an off-season, being like, what the hell am I supposed to work on? What can I really contribute that I'm not already in my like maybe it tops 5 minutes a game outside of blowouts. Being a floor spacer, a corner 3-point shooter on top of what he already does. We know the skill set's there. I think that's what he needs to unpack for himself. So I'm going Luke Cornett.
Okay. Love it.
I would love it to be Luke Cornett. I can't help but remember that the reason his career like didn't end was because he stopped shooting threes.
Fair.
If Lamar Stevens fixes his jump shot, then he'll like be in the Celtics rotation, and could even steal minutes from Sam Hauser. I did interact with a Cavs fan who was like, there have been signs that his 3-point shot has been improving. He's never going to be a Sam Hauser level shooter, obviously. But Lamar Stevens would be a great option. Could it be just Jaylen Brown? That'd be cool.
Oh,
Yeah, that'd be great. He shot 33% from
Yeah.
three last year. Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's do Jaylen Brown.
And as far as like the team peddling false narratives, like Jalen's a good one as well, just because of all of the fake content they could manufacture out of that. So I like that.
For sure. So Ben, I was with you on Luke, but I really hope it's Jake's. That's correct. That would make us so much better. Okay,
Slightly more important.
yeah, I love it.
Come on.
Okay, you guys remember when we had Rajon Rondo? You remember him? Yeah. So it felt like every offseason it was like, Rondo's shooting threes now. Rondo's shooting threes. Yes. And he never did till he left. But the Rajon Rondo Memorial, he fixed his jumper, and it doesn't actually work.
Can
Jake.
I say Luke Cornett again? Sorry.
I-
Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Ben.
Talk
at the same time.
I was literally going to say it's Luke Cornett.
Yeah, fair.
Because like who else's jumper is even broke? Who else needs to fix their jumper? Like, we're running low on people's jumpers to fix. It's like Rob,
Banton, Brissett,
yeah, but like of
Jordan
consequence.
Walsh.
Yeah,
Well, if they fix their jumpers, they're
Sure.
of consequence, right?
of course. Yeah, maybe it's just Fee Mikhailiuk. It's like I know,
Yeah.
it was like I'm borderline.
That's a good one.
Am I a good shooter? Actually, yeah. Now I'm a legit Sam Hauser level, and I love that. Just Sam Hauser's the gold standard for being an elite shooter now, in my brain. But yeah, Svi Mikhailiuk, but it just stays the same.
I have one. Jason Tatum from pull-up
Yeah,
range
yeah.
from 3.
Yeah.
That that narrative is already being peddled by Drew Hanlon and Tatum's like group, and he's been working on it all off season.
It can't be worse.
Well,
Come
it
on.
could be.
Come on, Ben.
Also, it could definitely just not be better, which is what we're
Yeah.
being sold right now. So that's one of my biggest fears going into the season. So unfortunately, that's my choice. As much as I hate to say it.
It's a good choice.
And we're going to get like the close-up videos of Tatum hitting step backs and stuff. And it's like, I want to see it in a game, brother.
How
Okay.
many takes did that take to
Yeah. Take a spot up, dude. The Semi Ojeleye Memorial, he's ready for a bigger role, but actually isn't. Ben.
Yeah, go Ben.
Jake.
go, Jake?
Ben,
Go.
Jake.
We'll take this.
Sorry.
This is tricky because I want this to not be true so badly, but is it Peyton Pritchard? Where
Ooh.
been peddling like, hey man, you've requested more trades requests than James Harden, it feels like, over the past year or so here. Are you actually ready to take advantage of this role that's been laid in front of you? And if he comes in and he's shooting like 35% from 3 and he's getting cooked on defense and it's just not working. Like, it's just like all of the warts that have been there are obvious, and the elite shooting, the deep threes aren't falling. It's just hard to play Pritchard when that stuff's not working. And he's been begging for it. And I think he's going to be able to take it and run with it, but he's probably at the top of my list for me.
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate choice. I would throw Sam Hauser into the mix.
Yeah.
We need a bigger role from him, regardless of whether or not he's ready. He showed flashes of proving that he's probably ready for a bigger role and deserving of one. But what if upon having that role, he just recedes back to like, oh, okay, that's why you were undrafted. That's why we're able to lock you down on like $2-3 million, whatever it is. So that's a concern as well. But I think he'll be fine in his slightly upticked role. But that's my answer.
Let's hope it's not Derek White.
Oh,
Moving on.
Jesus.
Don't even put that out there.
Moses. Oh my
I'm sorry.
God.
I apologize. I'm going to do some Hail Marys or something.
Please.
Okay, so you remember when we drafted Pritchard and Aaron Nesmith that season, right?
Great
And
year.
the word out of camp was like, Nesmith looks okay. But you know who's turning some heads? Is this Peyton Pritchard guy. So who's the newcomer that is better than we expect?
You know who it is.
Jordan Walsh.
Walshy.
Yes, gotta be Walshy.
Oh, yeah, mate.
I know.
Yeah.
Look, there's a world where the summer league stuff was real. Maybe he's the guy
Yeah.
who fixed his jump shot. His job could be really easy. It's like he's the most athletic person on the team, maybe. All he has to do is hit open threes, and if people close out on him, drive and try and dunk on people. That's all he has to do, and he's going to be successful and exceed everybody's expectations. You can do it, Walshy. You can do
it's
it.
Walshy. Like it's not going
Yeah.
to be Delano Banton. It's not going to be O'Shea Brissett. Like, just not. I hope that it could be or it would be, but I don't think it will be. Walshy is the answer. Lamar Stevens, he's I think playing for we signed him, didn't we? He's no longer playing for a roster spot. We actually signed him.
I think he's still partial guaranteed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, cool.
But this
Thanks
is
for clarifying.
changing every day, it feels like.
Yeah.
That's the
So-
Brad Stevens special.
Yeah.
But he might be next in line to like play himself into favor with Celtics fans and the front office.
It is a good point. Walsh, let him play, make his mistakes. Like, why trade for Jrue Holiday when we have Jrue Holiday at home? It's kind of
We have
obvious.
6'7" Jrue Holiday.
Yeah, what are we doing?
I think my money's on. I think it might be Stevens for me. If it's not Walshy, but just because like he's had some legitimate minutes on teams. So
Yeah, dude. He was he started 25 games for the Cavs last year, 15 and 10 in those games.
Not bad.
You tell me, 55-game win pace.
Okay. Next up, the Hakeem Olajuwon charges for training memorial. Who worked out with an NBA star that comes out next? Or do we just say it's Jason Tatum with Paul Pierce?
I mean, that's the answer. Sorry, Jake.
Okay.
You off again.
No. I was just sighing. You go, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Pierce, Jason Tatum is the easy one. Do we get like a bit of spicy JD Davison? You know, he's feeling it slip a little bit. Maybe he's like working out with Danger Mouse or someone of that level who has to sort of scrap their way up to the spotlight in their career. Yeah, maybe JD Davison.
Damon Stoudemire?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He wasn't
Mighty
like
Mouse.
Yeah.
What did you call
it?
it?
Danger Mouse.
Danger Mouse, the DJ. Like JD's spin. JD, DJ, Danger Mouse. I like
Danger
it.
Mouse. That's now JD's new nickname is the Danger Mouse.
It's the off season. What do you want me to say?
So,
Yeah, Mighty Mouse. Thank you.
What
That's
what
my
I would love to hear, it's like Rob Williams on day 2 of like training camp is like, oh yeah, like I actually spent like 2 weeks with KG and he just didn't tell anyone about it. That'd be sick,
awesome.
and I could see that. That'd be cool. Oh, look at this. See Gamer and me on the same wavelength here. There we go.
Great
That'd be beautiful.
There we go. All right, last one, and thank you guys for indulging me. I know how stupid this is.
This has been the best part of my day by far.
The Marcus Smart dyed his hair green, or the Marcus Smart has French fries on his head memorial for biggest aesthetic transformation. I think it's an easy one, but gentlemen.
No, you go. I don't have anything that's come to mind
Really?
initially.
The Mistress doesn't come to mind. It's a beautiful, beautiful chrome dome. I'm talking about dimensions. The dimensions of that skull. I mean, I think we did 5 minutes on it on a recent pod.
Wow.
Beautiful head of no hair.
Wow, I did.
That's my
Yeah.
answer.
How did I forget that? That's obvious.
When you're so close to someone,
Yeah,
you just know
yeah,
it so like
yeah.
wholly that it's
exactly,
like
yeah,
just
'cause
another day.
Yeah, I love him unconditionally. Like no matter what he looks like, I'm gonna love him. So like hair, no hair, striations, no striations. I'm gonna be loving my boy Derek White. Oh man, I was just thinking like if like Hauser came in with like Birdman type tattoos, all of a sudden
Cornrows.
That'd be sick.
But yeah, like I don't know, like Jalen's he's probably been someone who's changed like his aesthetic more than anyone else, going from like
True.
the flat. Is it called a flat top? Showing my cultural holes here to like the shave, like more of a shaved head with the beard
Yeah.
look. Tatum going like curls. He has a full beard now. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Luke's got to do something like it could go like a Jock Landau mullet mohawk type thing.
That would be awesome.
He's got to work on. He's got to like really carry the Bus One Boys vibes with Blake gone.
Yeah,
So this is important.
All right. You got an answer on that one, Spoonie?
I think it's going to be Jordan Walsh decides to start wearing a toupee. I don't know. I think it's got to be Derek White. Yeah.
All right. Well, that. First of all, that was awesome, Spoonie. Thank you for that. That was. I
was
agree with Jake.
fantastic.
That's the most fun I've had all week. I'll say. Now we're going to wrap up here with a couple of MISC news items. Good news to wrap up the pod. Again, Adam Himmelsbach of the Globe. Per source, Kristaps Porzingis took part in his first scrimmage Wednesday since being shut down due to his foot injury. He looked
Yes.
good and had no issues. You love to hear it.
Let's go.
And then
You know who else-
finally, sorry, go.
Oh, and
ahead.
Brogdon was also like he's apparently fine and ready for training camp with no issues. You dumb idiot Clippers, totally fine with no issues.
I know.
Just so you know.
I hope he drops 50 on them this year.
Yes. Now, look, we are running an off-season promo called 5-Star Walshy, where you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts, a 5-star rating and a review, and leave a Twitter handle or an email or some way for us to contact you. And you go into the running to win your own Walshy jersey. That's not a Jordan Walsh jersey. That is a Jordan Walshy jersey. Probably the only one in the world. I think as this has gone on, we've loosened the requirements and the prize potential for this competition as well, if you want to call it that. Well, really, if you win, like, you could just ask for whatever jersey you like, and we'll make sure that one arrives in the mail. I would recommend a Walshy jersey. I'm going to be getting one for myself. But really, at this point, you can choose any jersey you like. And we've got a couple of 5-star reviews to read out on the pod here. So we'll start with, I hope I could read this, by Kilos M, who said, "My go-to Celtics podcast, entertaining, knowledgeable, and just plain fun. The boys keep it real. We're discussing the Celtics. I downloaded the podcast, so just to leave this review, thank you, because I want more people to listen to them." We'll get to one more. This is from Tim Preston, who says, "My favorite Celtics podcast. This is my favorite Celtics pod. A couple of Aussies, a few regular guests, and he's left some contact information there as well. Thank you for doing that." So we love the reviews.
Tim's a legend.
Definitely points for humor as well. Like, we're not going to detract from those who have already entered. You're still very much in the running here. But if you can, add like a funny fact about where you're from or the Celtics or something like that, obviously that's going to make this segment even cooler. So that's great.
Yeah, maybe talk about what kind of striations you have on your shoulders. That'd definitely get my attention.
Send us a selfie. Anything else, guys, before we wrap this one up?
We didn't really talk about Brogdon, as far as like how upset he is, but like he's literally in the trade rumors instantly again.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad, kind of.
And you said like the vibes are good. Like, people have definitely noted that there's no Brogdon in any of the photos, or like I don't think he's back yet. So
I think he showed up. Yeah, I think he showed up like
back?
today or yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like if they're gonna like dangle him again, they gotta make the move probably too.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
But he's that guy. He's the mid-tier salary. Every team has one, and he's just that chunk of change that's so tradable that he's just by default going to be part of that conversation. And if he is as professional as he's purported to be, then he kind of just needs to take that on the chin, I think.
I would just say, hey, Malcolm, you get to get paid $20 million a year to play basketball.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the money's for.
Yeah. We might win a championship. Like, that'll be pretty cool, buddy.
Yeah. I'll send you
Put
a
your head
ring
down.
in the mail.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks so much for joining us. Media Day is right around the corner. We'll be back around then to celebrate the accuracy of our Media Day and training camp storyline predictions. Have a great weekend, everyone. Spoonie, Jake, love your work, guys. Until next time, go Celtics.
I love the Celtics!